The Sony Xperia 1 Mark II comes with a 6.5-inch display that has a 4K resolution. It's a HDR OLED panel. However, the company has included a new feature that will allow for a 90Hz effect on the screen, but it doesn't seem to use an actual 90Hz panel. Sony's latest flagship phone features a 3.5mm headphone jack on the top edge. The design is glass on the front and back, both of which are protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 6 technology. Inside the Sony Xperia 1 Mark II, there is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chipset, which is one of the very best processors on the market. The phone comes with 8GB of RAM to keep it running. Storage-wise, you have got 256GB of space to play with here, and that's expandable with a microSD card. 5G is one of the big talking points of Xperia 1 Mark II. There's no 4G only variant of this phone. The camera is another area Sony's put a spotlight on. The camera includes a 12MP main sensor, a 12MP telephoto one with 3x optical zoom, and a 12MP ultra-wide sensor, alongside a 3D time-of-flight sensor that will offer groundbreaking autofocus technology. It's using a technology that Sony developed for its alpha range of cameras, and the aim here is to give you the best shot through stronger autofocus. This technology can completely autofocus and auto-exposure calculations at 60 frames per second, while the camera itself can take 20 shots in burst mode each second. But Sony claims it improves autofocus for low light conditions as well as in everyday shooting. The phone can also record video in 4K HDR at up to 60 FPS. Pictures are amazing with this camera with its stunning dynamic range and color accuracy. On the front of the phone, there's an 8MP selfie camera, and Sony announced they have made significant improvements for front-facing shots. Sony has also made some big improvements to the battery on this device by increasing it to 4000 mAh on the Sony Xperia 1 Mark II, up from 3330 mAh on the Xperia 1. Sony Xperia 1 smartphone was launched in February 2019. The phone comes with a 6.50-inch touchscreen display with an aspect ratio of 21:9. It is powered by an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor. It comes with 6GB of RAM. As far as the cameras are concerned, the Sony Xperia 1 on the rear packs a 12MP primary camera with an 1.6 aperture, a second 12MP camera with an 2.4 aperture, and a third 12MP camera with an 2.4 aperture. The rear camera setup has autofocus. It sports the 8MP camera on the front for selfies. The Sony Xperia 1 runs Android 9.0 and is powered by a 3300 mAh battery. The Sony Xperia 1 supports wireless charging as well as proprietary fast charging. This phone supports storage expansion via microSD card up to 512GB. It was launched in black, grey, purple and white colors. It features an IP68 rating for dust and water protection. Sony Xperia 5 will be launched in October 2019. The phone comes with a 6.1-inch OLED touchscreen display with an aspect ratio of 21:9. It is powered by an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 7nm processor. It comes with 6GB of RAM. As far as the cameras are concerned, the Xperia 5 on the rear packs triple camera setup consisting of a 12MP main shooter and a 12MP telephoto lens and another 12MP ultra-wide lens. There is a 8MP camera on the front for selfies. This device is based on Android 9.0 Pie and packs 128GB of inbuilt storage that can be expanded via microSD card up to 1TB. It is powered by a 3140 mAh battery with 18W fast charging support. It will be launched in blue, red, black and grey colors. Sony Xperia XZ3 smartphone was launched in August 2018. The phone comes with a 6.0-inch touchscreen display with an aspect ratio of 18:9. It is powered by an octa-core Snapdragon 845 processor that features 4 cores and comes with 4GB of RAM. As far as the cameras are concerned, the Sony Xperia XZ3 on the rear packs a 19MP camera with an 2.0 aperture. It sports a 13MP camera on the front for selfies. This phone is based on Android 9.0 and packs 64GB of inbuilt storage that can be expanded via microSD card up to 512GB. It is powered by a 3330 mAh battery and supports wireless charging as well as proprietary fast charging. It was launched in black, white, silver, forest green and red colors. Sony Xperia 10 Plus smartphone was launched in February 2019. The phone comes with a 6.50-inch touchscreen display and an aspect ratio of 21:9. It is powered by an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 636 processor. It comes with 4GB of RAM. As far as the cameras are concerned, this phone on the rear packs a 12-megapixel primary camera and a second 8-megapixel camera. The rear camera setup has autofocus. It sports a 8-megapixel camera on the front for selfies. Sony Xperia 10 Plus based on Android 9.0 and packs 64GB of inbuilt storage that can be expanded via microSD card up to 512GB. This phone runs Android 9.0 and is powered by a 3000 mAh battery and supports proprietary fast charging. It was launched in black, gold, navy and silver colors.